Indian polymath Rabindranath Tagore was a poet, playwright, author, composer, philosopher, social reformer, and painter. In the late 19th and early 20th centuries, he used contextual modernism to transform Indian art, Bengali literature, and music. He was the first non European lyricist to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913. Tagore was referred to as the Bard of Bengal and went by the nicknames Gurudev, Gobi Guru, and Biswa Kobi. So, today we are going to see a poem written by Rabindranath Tagore that describes the values and significance of work in our lives. The poem is called Work is Worship. Work is actually a form of worship, since without it, life would be pointless. A loving completion of our work would result in our satisfaction and offer us a positive outlook. Since we cannot continue to live without work, work is a categorical kind of love. Once we start liking the work that we do, our spirit will be calm and peaceful. So let's begin with the poem. Leave this chanting and singing and telling of beads. Whom dost thou worship in this lonely dark corner of a temple with doors all shut? Tagore says that God is not just confined to the temple where the devotee sits with his mind all shut. He advises the devotee to give up the chanting, singing, and telling of beads. The poet criticizes all selfish ritualism in this poem. Tagore exhorts, meaning strongly encourage or urge someone to do something. So Tagore exhorts the holy man to reconsider the idea of encountering God in a solitary, dark chamber with all the doors closed, as opposed to the antiquated practice of chanting, singing, and reciting extended prayers while tightly gripping the chains of beads one by one. Open thine eyes and see thy God is not before thee. He is there where the tiller is tilling the hard ground and where the pathmaker is breaking stones. He asked the devotees to open his eyes, come out of ignorance, and see that God is not before him. According to him, God is found where the tiller is tilling the land and the pathmaker is breaking the stones, which implies that God is everywhere. To determine whether God is actually there in front of him, he must make an effort to open his eyes inside the dark room. He claims that God is not present in the pitch black room where the devout man is reciting hymns, that is, a religious man is reciting hymns, while turning away from the toiling humanity outside. God is in every place. God is with the one shattering the stones in the open air and the tiller who is working the hard soil. He is with them in sun and in shower, and his garment is covered with dust. Put off thy holy mantle, and even like him, come down on the dusty soil. He is with them in sun and rain, and his garment is covered with dust. The poet asks the devotee to put off his holy mantle and, like God, come down on dusty soil. He supports them both unwittingly as they are in the heat of the sun and the summer rain shower. Even God's clothing is imagined by Tagore to have been dust covered during the process. He then counsels the holy man to take off his robe, his clothes, and walk on the dusty ground. Deliverance? Where is this deliverance to be found? Our Master himself has joyfully taken upon him the bonds of creation. He is bound with us all forever. Come out of thy meditation and leave aside thy flowers and incense. The poet says that deliverance is not to be found in the temples. God has taken upon himself the bounds of creation and is bound with us forever. So he asks the devotee to give up his meditation and carrying of flowers and incense to the temple and realize that God is in ourselves. After all, seeking God's deliverance is man's ultimate spiritual objective. Deliverance meaning liberation, freedom, action of being set free. The soul is being freed from the cycle of birth and death in this way. God has committed himself to the creative process and taken on its delight and tragedies. For the love of God, let his clothing be torn and damaged rather than relegating being godly to self meditation and pointless ritualistic offerings of flowers and incense. What harm is there if thy clothes become tattered and stained? Meet him and stand by him in toil and in sweat of thy brow. He asked the devotee to join in helping others. No harm is done if our clothes are torn or stained. The poet thus admonished the devotee for sitting inside the temple with his mind shut and asked him to do socially, usefully productive work that helps others. He should learn to seek God the hard way. God does not hear his prayers since he stands with the underprivileged and the destitute. True religion consists of loving others and doing good deeds for those who are less fortunate and are working extremely hard to make ends meet. According to Tagore, a man who tries to escape from society in order to discover his own redemption should be pitied. Work is worship is a phrase that refers to the importance and value of work. This proverb explains that there is no worship better than doing your work with optimum dedication and devotion. Eventually, what really matters is how you perform your duties, but not how devotedly you worship. I do hope you have understood this poem. In case you have any doubts, you can comment below and do subscribe to my channel for more interesting videos. Thank you and stay safe.